Welcome back to Time of Death. As always, this video is for informational purposes only and in no way meant to glorify or condone violence. In today's video, we'll be discussing the murder of Elijah Robern. Robern was shot while driving near Pinafore Street and Cocoa Avenue in the Baldwin Hills, Crenshaw district at about 5:26 a.m. Sunday, August 26, 2007. He lost control of the car and crashed into a parked van. Robern was taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead at 6:19 a.m. James Fletcher was subsequently arrested and charged with the murder of Elijah Robern, including the attempted murders of Erwin and Mario Alvarado, Victor Campos, and Rudy Chavez. The following is the evidence at trial. Officer Brian DeLavan of the LAPD responded to the radio call regarding a shooting at the intersection of Cocoa Avenue and Pinafore Street in Los Angeles at approximately 5:30 a.m. on August 26, 2007. Officer DeLavan arrived at the scene and saw a car with its lights on and the engine running. The car contained the body of an individual. The victim, later identified as Elijah Robern, was sitting in the driver's seat and had several gunshot wounds, including one near the back of the head. The victim's car had crashed into a parked minivan at the curb. The driver's side window and left rear window of the vehicle had been shot out. An autopsy revealed that Robern died of multiple gunshot wounds and had suffered 7 such wounds. LAPD Detective James Yoshida and Richard Gordon responded to the scene later that morning. Detective Yoshida found 11 .45 caliber cartridge casings at the scene. He also found 3 expended bullets, 2 on Pinafore Street and 1 in Mr. Robern's vehicle. Robern was shot in a residential neighborhood in South LA that is often referred to as the Jungles. The neighborhood is claimed as territory of the Black Pea Stones. On September 20th, 2007, at approximately 1:45 a.m., Erwin Alvarado was driving his Ford Explorer on West 7th Street in LA. Erwin's cousin Mario Alvarado was in the front passenger seat of the vehicle. Erwin and Mario were not gang members and they were unarmed. As Erwin approached Redondo Boulevard, he saw that there was 2 cars blocking the street and not letting cars pass through. Erwin moved closer so that they could see he was trying to get through. He recalled that at least 3 black males approached him and Mario, and one of them pulled out a gun and shot at them from a distance of about 2 car lengths. Then the other 2 men began shooting at them also. Erwin put his head down and began reversing the Explorer. At one point, he looked up and a bullet grazed his forehead. Erwin collided with a couple of cars as he reversed. When he looked up a second time, the shooting had stopped and it looked like the shooters were gone. Erwin drove to his aunt's house where she called the police and he and Mario were transported to the hospital. The Explorer was hit by 12 bullets. Mario suffered a through-and-through gunshot wound to his forearm and one just above his stomach. A bullet is still inside his body to this day. Officer Alfredo Ibanez responded to a radio call regarding the shooting and arrived at the scene at approximately 1:50 a.m. Officer Ibanez recovered 17 spent .45 caliber shell casings and 4 expended .45 caliber bullets from the intersection. Detective Geiger heard about the Alvarado shooting a couple of days after it occurred. When he interviewed Mario at his residence, he told Detective Geiger that he did not get a very good look at anyone during the shooting. In a second interview, he told Detective Geiger that he had been afraid to say anything, but he recognized one of the people involved in the shooting as a person he knew as Jerry Burke, who had lived next door to him. Mario knew Jerry was a Gear Gang Crip. Detective Geiger showed Mario a 6-pack containing a photo of James Fletcher, but Mario was unable to identify anyone. Although Mario was not a gang member, he knew that 18th Street controlled the area where he lived. He also knew that Gear Gang Crips inhabited the same area. Gear Gang Crip and 18th Street were at war during this time. On the same day as the Alvarado shootings, at approximately noon, Victor Campos was speaking with his neighbor outside his apartment building, which was located near the intersection of Carlin Street and Hauser Boulevard in LA. Campos is not a gang member. The area where he lived is 18th Street gang territory, although Gear Gang Crips share some of the same area. A silver or gray Impala with 2 occupants approached. Campos stared at the vehicle. He clearly heard one of the occupants say, "F 18th Street." The passenger shot at Campos with a .45 caliber handgun. Campos looked at the shooter's face. Detective Geiger responded to a radio call regarding the Campos shooting. He found a blood trail and 1 expended .45 caliber shell casing under a truck parked on the street. Detective Geiger met with Campos at the hospital. He showed him a 6-pack photo lineup. Campos circled Fletcher's picture and indicated that James Fletcher, in picture number 3, was the person who shot at him. 5 days after the Alvarado and Campos shootings, at approximately 1:46 p.m., a 911 dispatcher received an anonymous call about a white Chevrolet Malibu opening fire on a tan vehicle on West 7th Street near Redondo Boulevard. The caller saw a white Chevy Malibu fleeing the area. The car appeared to have 2 male black occupants. LAPD officer William Corona responded to the shooting scene. He saw debris from an auto accident, including the rear bumper of a Chevy sedan. Officer Corona found 8 shell casings in the intersection. 7 of the casings were from a 9mm handgun, and 1 was from a .45 caliber handgun. Officer Corona located 11 more shell casings farther down the street. A witness approached Officer Corona at the crime scene and said he heard 5 to 6 rapid shots from his second-floor apartment. He saw a silver sedan fleeing, speeding eastbound on West 7th Street. At the intersection of Redondo Boulevard, the silver car collided with a green car. The driver of the green car exited the vehicle and started shooting at the silver car. The driver of the silver car started shooting back. At approximately 2 p.m. on the day of this incident, LAPD officer Sun Yoon went to a hospital located 1 mile from the shooting scene. On an unrelated matter, upon leaving the emergency room, Officer Sun Yoon saw Rudy Chavez and Gustavo Guzman walking towards the hospital from a tan Lincoln LS vehicle. Chavez had his arm around Guzman and appeared to be in pain. Guzman told Officer Yoon that Chavez had been shot in his right leg. Neither Chavez nor Guzman, who were 18th Street gang members or associates, testified at trial. On September 19, 2007, Detective Geiger interviewed Demario Green, a member of Gear Gang Crip who had been arrested for robbery. Detective Geiger asked Green for information about members of Gear Gang Crip who were committing shootings in the community. Green told detectives that one of them was known as Smurf. Detective Geiger determined that James Fletcher was a Gear Gang Crip known as Smurf. The day before the Chavez shooting, Detective Geiger conducted surveillance outside of 3460 Hyde Park Boulevard in LA. Detective Geiger photographed a silver Chevy Impala outside the residence. The bumper found at the intersection of Redondo Boulevard and West 7th Street following the shooting of Chavez appeared to be the same bumper the detective saw on the parked vehicle in front of Fletcher's apartment building. The address listed on Fletcher's vehicle registration was 3207 West Adams Boulevard in Los Angeles. On September 27, 2007, LAPD Sergeant Kenneth Smith executed a search warrant at the apartment located on 3207 West Adams Boulevard. Sergeant Smith found a semi-automatic .45 caliber pistol underneath the couch cushion. The firearm was fully loaded with 10 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. LAPD criminalist Stella Chu test-fired the weapon recovered from Fletcher's residence. Chu compared the expended bullets and casings to those recovered during the shootings charged in this case. The testing showed that all the ballistic evidence found after the shootings of Robern, Alvarado, Campos, and Chavez had been fired from the weapon found at Fletcher's residence. After the trial, the jury found James Fletcher guilty of voluntary manslaughter for the murder of Elijah Robern. He was acquitted of the attempted murders of Erwin and Mario Alvarado. He was found guilty of the attempted murder of Victor Campos, and he was acquitted of the attempted murder of Rudy Chavez. The court sentenced James Fletcher to life with the possibility of parole for the voluntary manslaughter of Elijah Robern, plus a consecutive term of 25 years to life for the attempted murder of Victor Campos, plus 21 years for gun and gang enhancements. Elijah Robern was 25 years old at the time of death.